Diddy's final chance to avoid prison seems to be slipping away after President Trump confirmed he would not grant him a pardon. Adding to his troubles, Diddy's $50 million bail request has been denied, leaving him with no way out before sentencing next month. With the verdict approaching, it appears Diddy may be facing a lifetime behind bars. What did he say to Trump that led to the rejection of his pardon plea? And is there any remaining path for Diddy to secure his freedom?
Clarifies his comments during an interview with Newsmax on August 1st.
Sean Diddy Combs,
Right.
would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do. Still in jail or something. But, he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. And seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So, I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs.
I would say so.
CNN confirmed a few weeks ago that Diddy's legal team had been in discussions with the Trump administration about a possible presidential pardon. Although Diddy's lawyers initially denied these talks, they were forced to admit the truth after White House staff verified that the conversations had taken place. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnafilo, revealed that Diddy had instructed him to reach out to Trump.
The White House official declined to comment on, quote, speculation and told us any decision on pardons would come from the president himself. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnafilo, said he has not talked to the Trump administration about it. You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of a pardon?
I think he knows I'm not political. We've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said.
Or are you preparing him?
So, I tell him what the guidelines are. And the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell him, the judge could go above the guidelines.
Do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. Not really.
You call the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura said she was physically and became addicted to drugs because of Combs.
I think that's what makes it. We vehemently deny. And I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her.
Cassie Ventura's attorney told us that Agnifilo's description of the relationship is a, quote, complete disgrace and affront to survivors of domestic violence.
During a press interview, Trump acknowledged that he and Diddy had once been friends and mentioned that he was considering looking into a possible pardon. However, in a more recent interview, Trump commented that Diddy was essentially, sort of half innocent. He added that while Diddy might have seen it as a small victory, it wasn't quite the victory he had hoped for.
Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot. I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Now, the final thing I want to say is this. I asked Joe Tacopina, what about Trump's comment? What does it do to the jury? And he thought it was a nightmare for Diddy that Donald Trump said this. And the reason he thinks that is when the jury goes into deliberations, they could end up saying, look, even if we convict him, because we kind of think he's guilty, we're not sure he's guilty, but if we find him guilty, he's probably going to get pardoned because Trump kind of sent that message.
People close to Diddy have been discussing the possibility of a presidential pardon for years. Suge Knight even claimed that Diddy had been working as an informant for federal authorities who would eventually help him avoid a sentence. According to these claims, Diddy had been providing information to the feds for some time. Law enforcement reportedly knew about his activities, yet he was never indicted, something that allegedly made Diddy confident enough to be open about his actions, believing he was untouchable.
Do you think he's going to be all right because someone's going to tamper with the jury? Is that what you're trying to say?
He got enough influence, and I'm quite sure. Don't seem like the prosecution is that bad against him. Don't seem like this. I think he got some favors with the government. I think they're going to show him a little leeway. It might not seem like it when it's all said and done, but I don't think he has nothing to worry about. I don't think he's worried because he's going to be federal. And if he gets convicted, Trump's going to pardon him. So, what's the word?
You think the President of the United States would pardon Sean Combs for trafficking?
Shit, he pardoned Michael Harris, who allegedly killed a Jewish teenager or had him. So they don't care about that. It's all about, what's in it for the long run and what the bucks say and what the power of the people want.
How does it go on for so long? When we were on the street, we didn't get a day's rest. The government was all over us. The FBI is all over us. They got investigations on us. They got informants. They got surveillance equipment.
Like, not cutting you off, but he was an informant. Did you?
Was he really?
Yeah. That's why when people say, oh, he's going to run, he's not. The reason why these type of people get caught up, they always assume they bigger than the law because they part of the law, And as you know, all these people get charged they rap.
Things haven't been going Diddy's way lately. Trump has shown that while he may be capable of forgiveness, he doesn't easily forget. During Trump's presidential campaign, Diddy launched a public campaign against him and even started his own political movement. In a recent interview, Trump admitted that Diddy's past remarks about him would make it very difficult to grant him a pardon.
I've got too serious of a point. I'm seeing what's going on. White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking is real dangerous. This man literally threatened the lives of us and our families about going to vote.
Stand back and stand by.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah.
We're in a war. We're not taking this like it's a war. We're taking this like, we're in a presidential election. We're in a war of love versus hate. The number one priority is to get Trump out of office. The tribe of people that have the responsibility and really should be scared to death for this man is white people.
Explain.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting killed. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war.
Perhaps the biggest reason Trump changed his stance on Diddy is 50 Cent. Ever since reports surfaced about a possible presidential pardon, 50 Cent has been posting clips of Diddy's past anti-Trump campaign on social media, reminding Trump why he shouldn't forgive him. In one tweet, 50 wrote, "See, Trump doesn't like stuff like this, buddy. You talk too much."
Men like Trump need to be banished. Trump gets elected, I really do believe in my heart there'll be a race war. That's why this message is not just to black people. You know what I'm saying? This message is to everybody. This man is really trying to turn us against each other and put us in a situation. America messed up.
President Trump even called him a good friend on a 2012 episode of his TV show The Apprentice. Problem is, some comments Diddy made about Trump in recent years as Diddy really entered the political realm. There's a video where he's speaking to radio host Charlemagne saying, if Trump gets elected, I really do believe in my heart there'll be a race war. In another video on Revolt, he says white men like Trump need to be banished. And by the way, you know who's not letting anyone forget this? Combs' rival 50 Cent. Took to social media recently, wrote, see, Trump don't act like this, buddy. You run your mouth too much. And Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him. While working tirelessly to make America great again, there is no room for distraction. He would consider pardoning anyone who is being mistreated, not Puff Daddy. Let me tell you, the idea of Trump pardoning Diddy is not getting a ton of love out there.
Gandalf predicted this outcome a year ago, saying that Trump would never pardon Diddy. According to him, their friendship was long over, and Trump wouldn't risk the backlash that would come from pardoning someone as controversial as Diddy. Sources close to the former president revealed that Trump felt personally disrespected and decided he wouldn't go out of his way to help someone who had publicly tried to humiliate him.
How do you feel about the people that feel like Trump, he might pardon Diddy?
First of all, he got to be charged and be in prison to be pardoned. You got to realize that the feds could take this case for 2, 3, maybe 4 years, and Trump will be out of office. You don't know how long the feds are going to go on with this. You understand what I'm saying? You hear people talking crazy talk. Well, they ain't got nothing because, man, I've seen the dude sit behind bars for 2 years before he had his trial with the feds. And by the time a pardon come in, another year will come by. So that's just a whole lot of propaganda. Puff wasn't even with Trump like that no more. He was going against Donald Trump. Donald Trump is petty as 50 Cent. Do you understand that? You see how petty 50 is? Donald Trump is just as petty as 50, bro. And he gonna look at it and say, yo, why should I help this motherfucker when he talking shit about me? The Diddler. I seen them in a meeting together before. Al Sharpton, Wendy Williams, Puff Daddy, and Donald Trump at the Four Seasons Hotel downtown. And I'm sure he was telling them, because all this shit is planned, bro. Yo, you know I'm gonna be president one day. I'm gonna need y'all support. But they flipped. You understand what I'm saying? They flipped. Because everybody was dealing with Donald Trump at one time. That was in the music record business and all that stuff like that. So my whole thing about it is, all that is propaganda, bullshit. They just having somebody, they need something to talk about. Donald Trump probably would on Puff if he was on fire.
Even if Trump were to grant Diddy a pardon, he would still have to serve at least a year or more in prison. It's important to remember that Diddy hasn't even been sentenced yet, and a pardon can only be issued after he begins serving time. The entire process could take over a year, and during that period, anything could happen. Diddy is well aware that his reputation makes him a target behind bars, and many people are reportedly eager to settle old scores. Prison could be the most dangerous place for...
How Trump, he spoke on giving Puffy a pardon. You heard what he said about it?
He still would have, if he pardoned Diddy, as far as I know, he would still have to go through the process. I don't think Trump is just going to send the marshals or the Department of Justice chief them over there to the jail, yo, get Diddy out. And when he had friends that went to jail, remember he had friends that went to jail, who worked for him, who did some shit. What did he do? They went through the same process that every person go through and give him a pardon. And that might take a year, that may take 2 years. But he's going to have to go through the process first, because I don't think Trump is going to show him any special favors for him not going through the process. So if Trump said that he may pardon him, he might still have to do a year, 9 months, or even longer than that. And I don't believe he is. I think 50 gonna be right there in his ear. And I think 50 is closer than Trump than Diddy is.
To make things even worse, Prosecutors are now pushing for an even harsher prison sentence. Reports suggest that the judge may disregard standard federal sentencing guidelines and impose a much longer term than Diddy anticipated. Since those guidelines don't strictly cap the length of his sentence, the final decision will depend entirely on what the judge deems appropriate based on the circumstances. Today's a great victory. Prosecutors put in an opposition to Diddy's bail request, and the prosecutors say they're actually looking for a more lengthy sentencing than what they originally thought. In this opposition, the prosecution is laying out the fact that the judge already denied Diddy's bail for being a violent person. And they hone in even more into Diddy's alleged violence against people. Prosecutors are saying that Diddy has actually been lying when he said that he didn't commit violence between his breakup with Cassie Ventura in 2018 up until 2024 with his incident with Jamie. Let's go ahead and jump right into this motion. The government says, despite the court's clear ruling that the defendant must be detained pending sentencing following his conviction on 2 felony counts, the defendant moves again for bail. The defendant's detention pending sentencing is mandatory. There is no exceptional circumstances justifying his release. Even if there were, the defendant cannot demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he is not a danger to the community. This court properly denied the defendant's request for bail on July 2nd of 2025, and the defendant has failed to present any reason for the court to reconsider its ruling. Court should deny the defendant's motion on this again on that basis alone. Then they get into listing more reasons. Defendant has failed to meet the strict standard for reconsideration as an initial matter. The defendant's motion is untimely under Rule 49 because the motion was filed 27 days after the court's July 2nd, 2025 bail determination. The defendant fails to meet Rule 49, which is a 14-day deadline. Gone to say that Diddy has failed to show any exceptional reasons why he should be released on bail-waking sentencing.
Today's a great victory.
Prosecutors put in an opposition to Diddy's bail request, and the prosecutors say they're actually looking for a more lengthy sentencing than what they originally thought. In this opposition, the prosecution is laying out the fact that the judge already denied Diddy's bail for being a violent person, and they hone in even more into Diddy's alleged violence against people. Prosecutors are saying that Diddy has actually been lying when he said that he didn't commit violence between his breakup with Cassie Ventura in 2018 up until 2024 with his incident with Jamie. Let's go ahead and jump right into this motion. The government says, despite the court's clear ruling that the defendant must be detained pending sentencing following his conviction on 2 felony counts, the defendant moves again for bail. The defendant's detention pending sentencing is mandatory. There is no exceptional circumstances justifying his release. Even if there were, the defendant cannot demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that he is not a danger to the community. This court properly denied the defendant's request for bail on July 2nd of 2025, and the defendant has failed to present any reason for the court to reconsider its ruling. The court should deny the defendant's motion on this again on that basis alone. Then they get into listing more reasons. The defendant has failed to meet the strict standard for reconsideration. As an initial matter, the defendant's motion is untimely under Rule 49 because the motion was filed 27 days after the court's July 2nd, 2025 bail determination. The defendant fails to meet Rule 49, which is a 14-day deadline. Go on to say that Diddy has failed to show any exceptional reasons why he should be released on bail waking sentence.